We now welcome onto the show VFL Jared Dickey. He's a part of some memorable moments. If you are a Tennessee fan in general, Tennessee baseball fan, of course. Jared, thanks for hopping in, man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you guys for having me. It's always been something that me and Landon have talked about, so it's great to finally be on.
Yeah, I think I just want to start by saying I love you and you're my favorite player.
Well, I appreciate that. And anytime I got on Twitter after a good game, your tweets would be the first one to pop up. So it was
It
gave me
was
some good
usually I
memories.
love Jared Dickey.
Oh man,
Actually,
what were the I was gonna ask about the Arkansas lead off twice. What was that weekend like? That Sunday tweet had to be
Oh
just a
man,
Jared Dickey love bomb.
oh, for sure.
man, they were so good. They were so good.
I actually got blocked on Twitter by a player's mom. I'm not going to say who because I said Jared Dickey was the only bright spot in that Arkansas series. So yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see how somebody's mom would take that the wrong way. Yeah,
You
but
gotta you gotta
no,
look at it from Landon's point of view though. It's more of the love for Jared Dickey is just that strong. Like that's how much
yeah, yeah. It
he
was
just
just it was a
it,
compliment that somebody took the wrong way. So. I do have a story about a little kid. So I think it was the Texas A&M series. So me and my dad are sitting there, MVP, no big deal. There's a kid and his dad sitting behind us that normally aren't there. And I think that was the game where you hit the walk off. It should have been gone, but I don't know why we just had a tornado wins that day. But kept it in, and you still got the walk off. And he it was one of your bats, and he was like, "Hey, Dad, that number 17 is really good at baseball." And my dad turned around, and he's like, "Yes, he is. Yes, he is."
oh man, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Anytime you see kids in the stands and like they get pretty excited when you do something, it's I think we're just growing the game of baseball, and I think that's probably one of the biggest parts of what this year's team and last year's team did.
Yeah, so let's talk about that a little bit. So you come in 2021, you are part of that team. Didn't see any action. I think you're playing summer ball already when they're in Omaha. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So what was that kind of like? Kind of waiting in the win there for seeing that team and how successful they were. Like, what did you learn from those guys, and how did it feel to finally get your moment in Omaha this past season?
Yeah, I'll just say it wasn't fun watching them on TV because I obviously wanted to be there and contribute, but that freshman year was kind of a whirlwind of a year for me, going through all the weight loss and everything. So I learned a lot from those guys, though, especially like Max Ferguson kind of took me under his wing. Evan Russell did, Luke Lipsius, and then obviously the next year getting to play with Luke and Evan. I mean, that was kind of like a dream come true because they were my mentors. They were people that I looked up to as a commit to Tennessee, watching them play when Tennessee really wasn't that good. But just coming out of the woodworks with those guys and playing that full season with them, it was really fun. Definitely made some memories I'll never forget.
so you mentioned growing up in Middle Tennessee, Mount Juliet. Were you a Tennessee fan prior to that commitment?
I was not. I
No.
was a very very big Alabama fan, and
Oh,
it came down between Alabama and Tennessee, and man, it was one of the toughest decisions I've ever had to make, but I definitely made the right one.
so I mean, you would have just ended up here in the portal act. So like Zane didn't. So you just took the shorter road.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, okay, y'all are gonna like this story. I knew from the get go on my visit that there was something sketchy about Bohannon, man. there there
I was
was
about to
something
ask you
sketchy
think
about
if he would have bet against you or not. That was my next
him.
question.
I don't know. I just got the vibe from him, and their hitting coach at the time was actually really cool. Zuli was his name. Uh, but yeah, I got that vibe from him from the start. So I guess it paid off for me in the long
Yeah.
run.
Yeah. You bet on yourself. He bet against you. So yeah.
Yeah, he probably had a backdoor bet somewhere that you were committing to Tennessee. He probably made some money from that. So good for him.
Probably.
Yeah. So you're part of a bunch of like kind of clutch moments there. I mean, it seemed like every single time Tennessee desperately needed a hit this season, it was you, or Zane Denton. You know, we will kind of give him the credit he deserved for that Clemson game. Is that something you just take pride in, where it's just like, hey, 2 outs, like I need a hit, I'm hitting it somewhere they're not.
Yeah, no, seriously, it is. I remember like my earliest memories are being in the backyard and uh, telling my dad, "All right, here we go, bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, 2 strikes. Like, what are you gonna do?" And then I would always get it done in the yard, and I felt like every single time this year I found a way to get it done.
Yeah. And who are these morons that keep, putting the shift on you? I just don't understand.
Oh my, that's probably one of my favorite moments from this year is Inslee just turns on a ball, hits it like 450 feet against Vandy, and I see them put that shift on me, and I'm like, oh man, Tim Corbin is about to love this. So yeah, that was one of my better memories, and yeah, thank you to all those teams for giving me a few extra hits this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. What? And then I also want to know what it's like hitting. So you hit leadoff. I can't imagine especially after doing it Friday night, that you're thinking, all right, Saturday we're thinking if I see a pitch here, it's going. I got to think as a leadoff hitter, you just got to get on base. Like that's your main goal. What is it like
Mm-hmm.
seeing at Arkansas? I think they were sold out every night, weren't they?
Yeah, they
Going
were.
2 back-to-back leadoff home runs. I mean, you can say it. Is it expected?
I won't say expected, but that Friday night game, I had a really good feeling about it because there and that lefty, he just loves to hang breakers. So I had a good feeling about that one. And then the next day, the dude threw me a curveball for a first pitch strike, and I was like, well, if he throws that thing again, like that could be an issue for him. And sure enough, he threw it again. So.
And I mean, they went to almost the exact same spot, right? I mean, I don't know if y'all
Oh,
have
I
the
mean, they
TrackMan like the MLB, but I bet it was following the same path.
they were literally identical.
That guy got
I
200
thought
balls.
on Saturday, I thought they showed a replay of your leadoff on Friday night when it happened. Honestly, I
Yeah,
was like, there's no way that just happened again.
well, I remember on Friday I got it up and the wind was kind of blowing in, but they've got that building in right, so I think it helped me a little bit blocking the wind. And I honestly thought Diggs caught it at first, and I was like, "Oh crap, you got to be kidding me!" But yeah, just barely squeaked over.
I do like your kind of whole batting routine. I think I mentioned this to Caleb where I should like make a video of duplicating everybody's kind of warm up there. But you do like the bat behind the head. You do the little, I think 2 or 3 half swings there. So I kind of got it down. I feel like I should do it.
Man, my girlfriend has made fun of me for doing that ever since we've been together, and so we we were in Florida this past weekend. I found a facility to go hit at, and she went with me one day, and she was like, "Here, like, let me try." And I just handed her the bat, and she obviously wasn't going to get in there and hit off the machine, but she did the full routine and everything, and she started laughing after, and I was just like, "All right,
Yeah.
whatever."
She played Tim Legend too.
No, she was never a fan of my walk up song. She's more of a country girl, so
It's a banger. I wasn't a huge fan, but it's kind of vibey.
thank you. I mean, that's what I've been trying to tell people, and it gets me in a place where I'm ready to hit, and there's no distractions in the world when I hear that song.
I think it's distracting for an opposing pitcher. You do have a funky kind of warm up there. It's not no one else has that. So and then you have Tim Legend. It's just like, who is this guy? And you see his batting average is like 330. You're like, dude, this dude's a robot. Not a chance.
No.
So I think Landon though should imitate. God, was it the third baseman? I can't remember his name for Southern Miss this year. What did you give me your breakdown of that routine?
He did a squat.
So
Coach Q
I was
loved
obviously I mean, I was in left field. I was like, all right. We got these little cards that tell us like where to position this person and all that. So I'm looking at the card, and I hear everybody in the crowd start chanting, and I'm like, what in the world is going on? So I look up, and this guy is literally like humping the ground, and I'm like, what is this guy doing? It was one of the craziest things I've ever seen, and I guess they call it goat yoga. Is I for some reason, anytime that he would get up and do it, you turn around and look at the scoreboard, and there would be an emoji of a goat in the middle of the scoreboard.
Wow. So he's
What is
goat.
he doing to those goats?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that is a wild place, Mississippi. So I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Did we ask? Have we asked about the situation at Southern Miss? Because we've given our uninformed takes. How do we end up under the bleachers? What's the deal?
So they didn't have a visiting locker room, and it was either go under there or go to some like little basketball arena that was like 5 or 10 minutes down the road. And we were just all like, why would we do that? Like that sounds even worse than sitting under the bleachers, because we were actually kind of having a good time under there. But I think it was perfect for us to be under there, because the picture of Kirby and the money through the gate, that is one of the best pictures that I've ever seen.
What did he buy? We were trying to figure out what he bought for like $1 or $2, whatever it was.
I think he was probably getting chicken sandwiches, knowing him.
Yeah, they probably charged him for extra Chick-fil-A sauce.
Probably
$1 for it. So what
did
do you
sorry.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
You go ahead.
I'll go ahead. I'll have a go ahead off with you right now. You go ahead.
What do you think about the portal right now? And is there a chance that Tony V is calling you and trying to recruit you to come back?
I mean, I showed up to the field today, and they had just gotten the Bargo kid from Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
So I had already seen the tweets of him hitting that ball off Burns, and everybody's like, oh yeah, like here we go. So yeah, they've been on a tear, and I mean, I think it's kind of expected from me, because last year I got to go on all the recruiting visits with Griffin. He was my big one that I went on. So yeah, just seeing the way that they do things, they do it really well. They show them the whole campus, give them a tour of the facility, take them to a nice dinner. Like went to Roost Chris with Griffin last year, and that was, I think that was probably a selling point for him after he ordered that big ass steak. But yeah, no, they're doing a great job, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's definitely one more, but I could see two more for sure.
So you're thinking Luke Holman?
I'm just gonna
don't go Ross Kivett on us. He wouldn't give us names.
Yeah, he accidentally said Corey. So I said, Ricky, write that down. That's the guy he's after. So
yeah.
Speaking of the transfer portal and what Tennessee got today, how mad are you about? I don't know. Do you like the catcher position, or how are you thinking? Like now Tennessee has 2 additional catchers on campus that hopefully won't up and quit the game of baseball or go pro.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be big for him for sure. Yeah, I think Cal and Charlie have done a really good job of manning it. And I think it's just a really tough position on your body. So just having all the extra guys that you can to man that down, I think it'll be really big for them.
Well, yeah. What was that like for you to kind of go through 2 off seasons, almost getting ready to play catcher, I guess is how you kind of took it on? What was that like? And I mean, like you said, it's very difficult. What's that kind of mentality, and then go play the outfield for the majority of the season?
Yeah. I don't really know how to say it, but I will say I was very upset with Coach V whenever I got back to campus, and he was like, "Yeah, you're going to go out to the outfield." So I was like, "Oh, all right, here we go." It kind of just at the time I was very sour about it, but looking back on it now, like I can catch, I can play the outfield, I can play first base, and all of that is going to help me in the long run. So, yeah, I'll thank them a lot for what they did for me.
I think it should be a yearly tradition with Tennessee where we have a position player play catcher in the offseason.
Yeah, I think they were thinking about throwing Burke back there. So, Could you imagine the big donkey behind the plate? That
Oh,
would
Yeah,
be
that's
crazy.
a big dude to put
Yeah.
back there.
yeah. I mean, does he have a cannon? And he's left-handed too. Is there a left-handed catcher? That would be insane.
It would be nuts. But no, he has a arm. Like you don't get to see it much with him in the infield, but dude throws like really, really hard. I would say that he could probably be a 90-mile-per-hour arm on the mound.
It's kind of like a sidearm too.
Mm-hmm. It
Yeah.
is.
Hmm.
Have you all given him a hard time about probably his best play of the year at first base, not even being caught on camera? That final out against Southern Miss, the camera wasn't fast enough. No idea. Like they're just like, and he's out. And I was like, okay, that was cool, I guess.
Yeah,
It was the same thing in the Supers against LSU where they hit it so hard at Jake Rucker, like it was like, oh, that was ripped, and it's like, oh, the game's over. Cool.
yeah. It was. It was. Yeah, I mean, I kind of forgot about that play. Those were literally very similar, just the complete opposite sides of the field.
Yeah.
It's that great camera work at Southern Miss's Park that was definitely good enough to host a super regional. So we're
Yeah,
really
that
glad
was those were really big time facilities. It was great having all the fans sitting on the metal bleachers during the lightning delay. Yeah, it was credit to them for that.
With their forks up in the air, probably.
So I don't know what kind of bulletin board material V gives you guys or anybody there in the dugout, in the locker room. What happens? I know Florida, the picture of Evan Russell was hanging up. We wanted you guys to have on Thursday after we saw that, we wanted you all to have a bulletin board off. We needed more material just to take a picture of them hanging that picture. What did you all get bulletin board material that week? Like, hey, now you're the underdog, they're making you travel, or was it just like a take care of business kind of deal?
It was kind of just a take care of business type of deal. I think throughout the whole year, especially after last year's team, I mean, some of the DMs that we were getting were ridiculous. Like, I can't even say them out loud. Like, that's how bad they were.
What was
So,
the average
yeah,
age of those senders? Like 45, probably.
oh, I mean, some of them were definitely older than that. Like, I would get on Twitter and I'd have like a 70-year-old man like tagging me like "LOL, kid," like, like okay, but
Hey,
yeah,
you
I mean,
gotta
there was
respect the grind of that guy for even doing that though.
And I
yeah,
mean,
true.
it is one of my favorite pictures of Luke Lipsius just touching home plate, all of the bench warmers. But at that point, I did think maybe we jumped the shark a little bit as Tennessee. Like I was like, all right,
Yeah.
it is just insane how hilarious this is.
that
What was the reaction when that happened when you talking to Luke in the dugout?
that is my favorite Tennessee at bat that I've ever had because I was the one that hit the ball up. I hit it up the middle, got to first base, and I'm standing there beside Ricky, and we're watching Luke, and like, all right, here he goes. We thought he was going to head first slide, go around. Nope. Me and Ricky just look at each other like this, and we start crying, laughing. It was that's one of my best baseball memories ever.
I'm impressed that the game is slow enough for him to think to do that. Honestly, that's the most impressive part that has been skipped over by everybody.
Well, he's a genius too, so he probably has so many things running through his mind, and then he saw that one and was like, "All right, here, like I'm doing this."
He
Nailed
also
it.
did
I mean,
the in 2020 or 2022 where he hit the home run after Jordan Beck got called out, and he checked.
yes.
He grabbed the bat from Evan Russell and checked it.
Yeah, man, he was a clown. One of the funniest guys that I've ever played with.
So you were roommates with Griff this year, and it seems like you're best friends with Ben Joyce, now best friends with Griff. You got to pick one. Who are you picking?
Oh no, you, you,
You
yeah,
better say Ben Joyce. He's making a lot of money right now.
you can't do that to me. But I will say this that Ben has been there through it all, and Griffin has just come at a good chapter in my life. So
How old is Griffin, man?
I was about to say, have you checked his birth certificate?
I think he's like 24, 25.
Oh.
Yeah, he's old enough to get away from baseball, but
Yeah, he's old enough to start his own podcast or something. Who is the best pitcher you've faced? You can say Paul Skeens or you can say somebody else if you
I don't think it is Paul Skeens.
want. Ooh.
Yeah, no, I don't think it is. So we had those meetings in Arizona for the draft combine, and the Padres, I vividly remember this. They were like, "All right, tell us." Like they had a TV in there where you could pull up videos of any of your at bats throughout the whole year, and they were like, "All right, tell us somebody that you owned that not many people owned." And I was like, "All right, go to Friday night at LSU where I was 2 for 3 off them," and they were like, "Yeah, like I don't think so. Like you're just pulling our leg." So I got them to pull it up 2 for 3, and then the third one was a deep fly out. So they were like, "Okay," like, and I saw all of them writing down on their piece of paper. But
Oh,
man, that's a really tough question. Um,
I just
I could
love
give
you
you.
let it hang on the Padres organization. That's awesome. There you go, Manny Machado.
Yep. I'm gonna go with Hagen Smith from Arkansas. I think he struck me out in 3 pitches, and the third one it was pretty bad. And that does not happen very often. So I'll give credit where it's due.
I did the math. You only struck out 7% of your at bats this season.
Sweet, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. So is that like something where you're like, hey, you're not striking me out? Because I feel like in 2020, 2022, 2021, that was like those guys. It seemed like it was their mentality. It's like, you can throw whatever you want. You're not going to strike me out. You might get me out, but you're not striking me out.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I think that was one of the things that I learned from those older guys is like just having quality at bats and fighting for your team. And I feel like that was probably something that we strayed away from at times this year. Just trying to hit the long ball and be identical to last year's team at times. But yeah, that's always been my mentality is like you're not going to strike me out. Like that is like the most demoralizing feeling after you swing and miss or watch one go by and you have to walk back to the dugout. So yeah, no.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about the
At least
walk
you
back
don't.
to the dugout.
Well, at
Why?
least you don't hump the dugout and then have to walk back after a
That's true.
strikeout. That's
That's true.
that
Yeah.
is a
That is
positive.
true. That is very true.
Um, why do like when people strike out? Why do they look back at the pitcher? Is that just like a unwritten rule, or why do people do that?
No idea. No
I've
idea.
just always noticed it. Maybe I'm just wrong, but I just feel like people look at the pitcher and they're just like, "Damn you!"
Yeah, no, seriously. I've seen uh like um the Dickerson kid from Southern Miss after Doe struck him out. Like, dude,
Oh yeah.
you just struck out on a 98-mile-per-hour heater, and you're gonna look at the guy and tell him he sucks like after he just struck you out on 3 pitches. Yeah, I've never understood it.
Yeah, it was a great gift. It's just
Well,
like,
Drew Gilbert looks at the umpire, so
Yeah.
so there are some different approaches.
have you ever wanted to be as fast as at something as Tony Vitello is at getting out of the dugout? Like for
Man, the one that sticks out is obviously the Alabama one. I mean, I've never seen him get out of the dugout that quick for that. And then when we were at Clemson, he came out to get the review. That
Yeah.
that yeah, that's a good one as well. But yeah, I think I mean he's an awesome coach, freaking awesome. I don't have enough words to say about him. And just talk about a player's coach, letting you do whatever you want to, and just wanting you to succeed at everything in life. He's the man.
What if
whose idea
what if I
was it?
told you that we kind of want golly, why am I blanking on his name all of a sudden? Third base coach. Good God.
Elander.
Hitting coach. Elander. I don't know why I just blanked on his name. I kind of want him as head coach. He is undefeated as the man in charge.
He
To
is.
be
He
fair,
is.
That's a.
That yeah.
I feel like
You
I
pat that
feel like
right on the leg.
Vol fans are not talking about that enough. All right. I mean, I'm just putting it out there.
Well, I will say that we made some boneheaded base running mistakes early on in the year, and man, he was getting ripped on Twitter like Josh Ealer should not let this happen. So yeah, I think that's what Vol fans think of Josh Elander right now. So we might need to give him a little bit of time.
Was he the one that recruited you?
He was. I had a homer my sophomore year, like at a fall tournament in in Sarasota, and he was there. Called me that night, and then I got to campus like the next week. So yeah, he was the one that did all of it.
And so, whose idea was it for you to do the weight loss? Because like I mean, they showed the picture like a billion times last year on the SEC network. I mean, you were kind of unrecognizable.
Yeah, I think the highest that I got up to was, man, it's crazy even saying it was 293. Uh, yeah, so
What?
I was I was a big
Well,
boy.
you don't care. Like I've seen the picture. Obviously, you don't look 293. That's
Uh,
insane.
I carried it pretty well.
Yeah.
A lot of it was in my legs, but I mean, don't get me wrong, I still had the stomach to go with it. But yeah, no, it was kind of just a group decision. We had to decide like if I wanted to be effective and good at baseball, then I had to do all of that. And I think if I didn't do that, because I mean, I could have just lost 50 pounds and stayed at 225 and hit a lot more homers, but I wanted to be agile. I wanted to be quick. I wanted to be able to play everywhere in the outfield, and then obviously the catching thing came around. So I think that was one of the better decisions that we've made.
So, did you have your girlfriend before you lost the weight or after?
No, after there, there was not much interest when when the fat guy rolled up to campus.
I love that.
So we do normally ask like favorite moment. You've been a part. I mean, you've been a key player in some of the better moments in Tennessee baseball. What's one? I mean, one of your favorite. Let's go with your moment. One of your favorite moments that you did, and then give me one that you weren't a part of. Let's split those up.
Wow, making me reflect
Or
back.
you could have been a part of it, but maybe not the guy that's either hit the RBI or hit the home run or something like that.
All right. Well, I'll give you the one that I'm not a part of, and that was definitely Zane Denton's home run. That I think Drew's was awesome. Like that was really cool. But I think the significance of Zane's home run right there was probably one of the biggest hits in Tennessee baseball history, if not the
Yeah.
biggest one. So I'll go that one for that moment. And then, oh man, I think the the bases clearing little single or triple, whatever you want to call it, whoever you are at Southern Miss, that was probably my favorite moment for me.
Yeah, poor outfielder.
I, I hit that ball really hard, and I had just gotten the ball in left field the inning before that skipped really hard because obviously when that turf gets hot, it's going to skip even harder.
Mhm.
Uh, and I saw him running side, like just taking a direct route, and I was like, oh man, that might get by him. And then sure
Maybe
enough,
not.
yep.
What did going back to Clemson? What did Cam? Do y'all know what Cam Canarella said to get ejected?
No, we
Okay.
have no idea. We were, we were all just like kind of standing there in the dugout about to go out, and we saw him talking to Zane. And we're just like, dude, like he literally just hit a freaking 3-run bomb
Right.
to like keep us in this game, and you're talking crap to him. Uh, but yeah, no, we have no idea what he said.
Okay. I was just curious because I mean I have no idea, but no one has any idea. I don't know. Ejections like that are dumb in baseball, but I'm also like they did tell you like an inning before that to shut up at both
Yeah,
teams. So
exactly,
maybe
exactly.
just shut up.
I want to talk about the SEC a little bit. Like how big of a grind, especially like the was it Florida, Vanderbilt, LSU, Arkansas, like all those, that gauntlet that y'all went through. How was that as a team? Just because like, there was some struggles in there, but there also was the sweep against Vandy. Shout out Tim Corbin. What was that kind of like for y'all's team, and how did it prepare y'all for that postseason run?
Yeah, I mean, uh, I think as soon as like the first 3 weeks of the season went by, and we were starting to look at SEC, and we saw what those teams were doing and like what we were doing at the time, and we were like, oh man, like that's going to be a really tough stretch. And then obviously didn't start off SEC play how we wanted to, but ended on a heater, and that's all that matters. So
Yeah. And draft week, I guess. I want to say draft day, but there's multiple days. Is coming up this week. Have you kind of heard like where you could go, where you're expected to go, stuff like that?
yeah, a lot of the stuff that I've been hearing is probably late on day one. Um, just like anywhere from the beginning of the second round to the end. But yeah, I mean, you just never know until the day comes, really.
And are they like having you as an outfielder, catcher, athlete, whatever?
A, a lot of them just have me as a hitter right now, and they're just going to figure out the position stuff later.
Yeah, professional hitter. You might as well.
What's the draft watch? What's the watch party gonna be like? That first off, the setup behind you looks like an excellent draft party location. Or is this gonna be a campus deal?
This would be a good setup, but I'm actually here at my grandparents' house in Knoxville, and I'm gonna head home tomorrow, and I think it's just gonna be me, my girlfriend, and grandparents and parents at our house watching it. And then if it just so happens that I do get a call on Sunday night, then I think after that I'm gonna go out with my family and a few buddies, and we're just gonna go out and celebrate.
Heck yeah.
There you go. Broadway? Is that too far away?
I don't know about Broadway. I don't know.
I took an Uber home from Broadway one time. It was like $190. It was stupid. To Mount Juliet, sorry.
Yeah, the prices are very, very high down there.
That's kind of all I got, man. I really appreciate you hopping on with us, and appreciate all you did for Tennessee baseball. You kind of part of bringing this thing back and keeping it to where the standard is now. Is there any kind of recruiting pitch that you'd like to kind of give to high school players, or does Tony Vitello do enough of that?
I think he does enough of that. But if I had one thing to say, then it's probably just if you want to play for somebody who's as passionate as the game as you think you are, then come play for this guy.
Yeah, awesome.
Love it. Thank you for hopping on, man. We really appreciate it. Good luck this weekend and wherever you go after that.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me.
See you, Jared.
Thank you.